Welcome to Life in the Moose. Welcome back if you've been here before. Let's put some sheathing, some subfloor sheathing on this house today. I don't think we're going to finish it up because there's a lot to do. And with only me doing it, I can't do anything in one episode. It just takes too long. So let's get started with this corner right here. So I double checked my measurements, my square, my distance back and forth. Everything is perfect or close enough, except for one little section. Right in the beginning, from here across 32 feet, just in that little section right there. Once you hit the master bump out, then it's fine again. But for the first 6-8 feet, we are about a 1/4 inch off. I know, I hate it. I don't even like that. So I'm about a 1/4 of an inch off just on this edge over here. And I'll make up for that. I think I'm gonna split the difference. So I might be 1/8 of an inch off on this side, 1/8 of an inch off on this side. And then there will be no harm, no foul. No big deal, right? I did do a little bit of work when you weren't looking. And I see that insulation right there? I put this foam spray in behind these squash blocks and in some other corners that's gonna be almost impossible to get to once the sheathing is on. And like always, before we get into the heart of the matter, there's stuff to do. Namely, deal with this shear wall right here. Gotta pick that 3x6 sill plate up and put a piece of tar paper under there. And then I have to take these bolts and cut extensions for them. Kind of like I did at the end over there in the last episode. But this is just a different size and they don't have to be quite as long. So that reminds me of a question I received, a couple questions actually, from the last video when I did cut those big hold down bolts off. Someone asked me, why didn't you just make the bolts longer to begin with? Well, those bolts are very specific. They only come in certain lengths and they have an embedment line, which means they have to be embedded so far into the concrete and with only so much sticking above it. That's just how they come. There's nothing you can do about it. And if you want them longer than that, you have to have extensions. This is an even 40 feet from this end to that end. So our first few rows should work out splendidly. The reason I'm putting anything under here at all is just for the moisture barrier between the concrete and the wood. You always want something between concrete and wood. And the reason I'm not using regular sill seal, like I mentioned in the past, but sometimes I repeat myself because not everyone watches every video. So the reason I'm not using the normal sill seal, for 2 reasons really, or 3. Number 1, I don't want the thickness because this 3x6 that's going to be on this wall is going to be pressed tight up against the sheathing that I'm going to put down. So I don't want that thickness just in case it gets in the way. I don't want to have to plane that off in case that 3x6 is proud. It's a lot easier to shim up a little bit from underneath if you have to. Another reason is I don't want the sponginess of it. That sill seal is at least 1/8 of an inch thick, and I don't want that compression ability of it. I just want something solid. This paper is what it is. It isn't gonna really compress anything, not significantly anyway. And the last reason is there's really no reason. Sill seal helps keep out bugs, air, things like that. Well, this is open from one side of the crawl to the other, so it doesn't really matter if anything gets from one to the other because it's all in the crawl space. Make sense? Okay, it's cut. In what seems like 100 episodes ago, I cut these all off so that they would be about halfway up this coupler. So we're good to go in that category. We just have to add the extensions now. So I'm good to go ahead and screw all of these on. And then I'm going to cut them in place like I did the last episode. Okay, it is proud just the slightest bit. But I think what I can do is just tighten this up enough that it'll suck it down into place. Okay, that looks good, but you probably can't see it from there. But this 3x6 is a little cattywampus. That's code word for crooked. So I don't know if I can shim up one side without raising the whole thing. It's pretty beefy. In essence, there's a little bit of a twist in this. Not enough for me to replace. But let me try this. Let me put this shim under this corner. See if I can tighten it straight at all. I kind of think I won't be able to, but let's try it. Why not? Well, it might have helped a skosh or a smidge, depending on who you are. Okay, that's good. The main thing I'm concerned about are these hold-down bolts. And as I mentioned in the last episode, these hold-down bolts will hold the whole wall above it down to the foundation. Okay, this is twisted a little bit more than I thought. So we're gonna have to take the planer and take just a little bit off of one corner down here. Okay, we're good. Okay, more Simpson strong tie hardware. I should have bought stock in that company. All right, this is slightly different. This is an HDU5. I think the other one was an HDQ12. The other one was heavier and beefier and longer and more solid metal, more thicker metal all the way around. But I think this will do it. So let's duplicate what we have going on. 3/4 inch, 3/4 of an inch. That's my subfloor. Bottom plate. My hold down. So this hold down requires this funky looking washer type thing. It sits in the bottom just like that. So that's what it looks like. Let's go ahead and screw that in there. And this wall only has 2 of these hold down, if I hadn't explained that already. The rest are anchor bolts. Anchor bolts, it doesn't really matter how tall they are. This one's a little more specific because it has to be obviously long enough to get through the bolt, but short enough so as not to interfere with the holes here. And again, this requires special screws, special little lag screws that go into a double 2x4 or 2x6 in this case. Okay, I think that's fine right there. And it looks like my anchor bolts could be about an inch shorter than that. Okay, I can say 5 inches off of this 3x6. Just want to make sure this comes off easy. So it's a lot easier if you haven't done this before. It's a whole lot easier getting this nut off of a freshly cut rod than it is getting a nut on. It's hard to start them sometimes on a fresh cut, but usually it's pretty easy getting them off. This worked out well. All right, let's just keep going down the line. All the fun little things that people don't think about when you say someone's building a house. Oh, so you're cutting threaded rod. Has to be done. Two down, 5 to go. Okay, ready to put some sheathing down? I'm not quite ready. There's a couple things I have to do, a couple things I want to do. And one of those is to make a beater board. And instead of using a sledgehammer to hit the edges of that sheathing, use a board. Put the board on the edge, distribute the weight a lot to distribute the blow, and nudge it over like that. That'll be a lot better. So I'm going to take this, so I don't have to bend over all the time. I'm going to put a handle on it of sorts. The handle will have a handle on it, so to speak. Eyeball it. Some 4-inch GRKs here. Now I gotta put a handle on the handle. Basically, I want the handle to be more than 16 inches so that when this thing flops over in the wind or when I bump it, inevitably that will happen. That way the handle, the upright, won't fall completely in the middle of the bays. This just seems to make sense. There you have it. Oh, I need to go get the adhesive, the glue that I'm going to use for this. Okay, here it is. Well, this is half of it. So the sheathing I'm using is called Advantech, and that's a Huber wood product. Huber also makes their own adhesive, a subfloor adhesive. It's kind of a gel that goes on in a foam almost and turns into a gel. Well, that is very fast to apply. It's very easy. It's more expensive than this, but the biggest reason I'm using this right here, I bought a case of this stuff about a little over a year ago on an online auction. So I got this for about 1/4 of the price, if that. It was exceptionally cheap. So the caveat is, this has been expired about a year. I know everything expires, right? So I did test it. That's why this one is open. I tested this a couple of weeks ago to make sure it still worked. And it does. I put a couple of 2x4s, just squeezed them together, came back and the next day and I could barely get them apart after beating on them. I mean, seriously, it was stuck together. So I'm not concerned about that. That being said, if I open up any of these and they smell funny or they look funny, I won't use it. I do have a brand new case as well, so I'll probably need 2 of them at least. Of course, big caulk gun for the big tubes. This is an approved adhesive for the Advantech because they only want certain kinds of adhesives, and this is one of them. So we're good to go. Okay, next thing we're gonna do is snap a line at 48 inches, 4 feet. That's how wide these things are. So instead of lining them all up with one side, in theory that would work. If this was laser straight and if there was no human error involved, that would work. But both of those are probably not the case. That's why I'm gonna measure 4 feet from the corner down there, which that distance across I know is dead on. This distance across right here is off by a little less than 1/4 inch total. So I'm going to take this and move it 4 feet plus 1/8. And I'm going to split that difference. That way you're guaranteed that that first row is going to be straight. Otherwise you're going to be fighting it. That's no fun. I've never had to do this with building cabins. I mean, the biggest cabin I ever built was 16 feet long. That's 2 sheets. So it's completely unnecessary. Oh, by the way, before I forget, I just saw myself in the camera here. Before I forget, a couple of people asked about these suspenders. They are available. I got them on Amazon. And what I do is I put a link in the video description to this, to almost all of my stuff that I use, the tools. There's a link in every video description to Amazon, to this specific product. Now, I do make a couple dollars, sometimes even a couple pennies off of the products that you get from Amazon, but that doesn't cost you anything extra. So that's the beauty of it. It's a win-win situation. Anyway, just wanted to throw that out there in case you're interested in anything I have or use. Okay, that will self-center. Trying to be gentle with this thing so it doesn't lose all of its chalk before I get there. So I'm going to pull this really tight. Good thing is there's no big crosswind here today. If I just wrap this around 100 times, it should be fine. Let's go snap it in the middle somewhere. Okay, we have lines. I'm gonna put that over there so I don't mess anything up. Not the darkest lines in the world. Okay, the line is snapped. 2 lines are snapped. I went back and I snapped the blue line, the blue chalk. I can see it a lot better. The good news is they both ended up on the same line, so that's a good thing. All right, let's move some sheets. Here's our pile. I'm gonna move the sheets up on top. Start with those. See how far we get. I had a late start today, but we'll keep working and see how far we can get today and pick it up again tomorrow. But there's 1, 2, 3. There's 6 sheets right here. That'll take us all the way down one side and one extra. Okay, let's cut those. I would cut those, but someone took my utility knife. Did you take my utility knife? Come on, level up. Okay, you saw me wrestle these around. This is how this board is supposed to be oriented, just like this. The tongue is going to be over on this edge because you want to pound on the groove if you're doing any pounding at all, so you don't bung up this tongue. And this is the side that has all the nailing patterns, the markings. The other side, like that one right there, has all the APA ratings and things the inspector needs to see And he can see that from below if he wants to see it. They want an 1/8 of an inch gap all the way around. So as long as I start flush with this end on the sheet end, I'll be good to go. Here's one area where I am going to disagree, not listen to, not obey the engineer. The engineer said I should use 10D common nails. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use 8D ring shank nails. The website, Advantech website itself says 8D nails. And they even recommend ring shank. Get away, bug. They even recommend ring shank because it has superior pull-out resistance. I mean, if you ever tried to take one of these out, it's next to impossible. Speaking of nails, the engineer wants to see nails every 6 inches on supported edges and every 12 inches in the middle of the field. Advantech website says the exact same thing. My engineer added that he wants the perimeter of this envelope every 4 inches. That's a lot of nails, but you know, it doesn't take that much longer when you're using a nailer, so no big deal, I'll do that. All right, well, let's get to work. Okay, every joist, of course, and every bit of blocking and every piece of Sasquatch block will need glue. So I can't forget this. This first tube is the one that I cut open. I think it's a little bit caked in the inside, so it's going pretty slow, but I don't want to waste it. So let's get gluing. Oh, I oriented my boards like that. Right now they're upside down. So I'm going to glue right up until the line. I don't want to cover it up. And then I'm going to take those and just flop them over, and they'll be oriented exactly how I want them. Seems to make sense.
Martha came from off the farm, ran right up, jumped in my arms. I said, "You're coming home with me today." Martha, you're the sweetest girl, an angel sent down to this world. I love you more than words could ever say. Every day's a new beginning, life is just a game you're winning. Every time you look, an open door. So run right out, chase the sunlight, nothing left to do but do right. Martha, you're the one my heart beats for.
Okay, we done? Oh, what the heck. Put that one with it. Okay, here we go. Out of its system. On a roll. One after the other. 4 inches on the bat. One is nailed down. That's the every foot mark. Since I'm here, okay, that's done. Perimeter's done. This sheet is done. Yay. We are back at it today. I have good news and bad news. The bad news is a gust of wind, a strong gust of wind at the last minute last night came up, blew my big tripod over. The good news is my phone is okay, so you can see me right now. The bad news is the top of the tripod broke. So for the rest of this video, I'm limited to this handheld device, which I'm holding right now, and my head-mounted gear. So we'll make it work one way or another. Little pieces of plastic shouldn't be around a job site like this in the wind. So I ordered a new one. Actually, I ordered a couple of them. One is supposedly metal. We'll see if it works out or not. So I think what I'm going to do is load up 5 at a time, because it takes 5 to get across where I'm going right now. 5 sheets. So I'm going to load up 5 at a time. This one actually 4, because I have one left over from yesterday. And I think I'll bring them over there. I'll cut my 4-foot section over on the deck. I'll bring a few of these along and just set them up there. I think it'll be easier to cut them over there rather than over here, or wrestle them on a sawhorse. My goal is to get through this project without lifting a single one of those pieces. That's my goal. They're heavy. I mean, I could do it. I just don't want to. I think if I can just slide them onto the edge, then I can kind of lift them up and slide them where I need to go. I hope. It's supposed to be a hot one this afternoon. I have an early start today, so let's go ahead and get working. what am I doing? I'm pulling out industrial size staples. Ah, there's always something. These big ones. And I thought the small ones were annoying. Oh, and you know what else I did? I loaded these the wrong way again. I don't know what I was thinking. If that's the worst thing that happens today, I'll be happy. Houston, look at that. I'm gonna have to break that out of there. I don't think there's any correcting that. Shoot. All right, it's not perfect. Tell you, the strapping, the staples. Come on, Advantech, I like your product, but let's work on shipping a little bit. Handling. All right, I think that will work. I went ahead and snapped a line at that 8-foot mark, just so I could keep myself honest. And I know where to stop gluing. More than anything. Okay, we're moving. Okay, we're about there. That's a little too far, maybe. Hey, there we go. Slowly but surely, we're making progress. Well, what do you think? About 1/5 of the way finished? Actually, that equates because I ordered 55 sheets and we have 10 up right now, so pretty close. On this row, we'll turn the corner down there, literally. Okay, well, let's load up another batch and keep going. Well, we've turned the corner. There's going to be about a 6-inch strip on this little leg right here. I'll add that later. Our next panel will take us all the way to the last joist right there. I still haven't added that extra joist that's going to sit behind that. And we'll get to that later. Probably not this episode. I think this is about wrapped up. Although we're going to do one more row here. That way we're going to be close to halfway. Not exactly. But it's progress. It's hot. It's 4:42. I'm kind of tired, but let's do one more row. I can do it. I know I can do it. Can you do it? Can you hang in there with me? Okay, good. I snapped my line at 4 feet again, just to give me a glue guide more than anything. It says all over this board, you're supposed to leave 1/8 of an inch gap between panels in every direction. So when you see a gap like this in between the edges, that is supposed to be like that. I mean, not like I'd mess up or anything. Okay, before we get too far, we have to take some 220 grit sandpaper and just sand the whole thing. Just really smooth. Get out of here. Okay, that's about as much as I can do for one day, and that's about all we should do for this episode. We are about halfway, not quite, about 5 sheets shy of halfway, but we're getting there. It's a slow, tedious process, but one way or another, we're gonna get there. Thank you very much for watching Life on the Moose. I appreciate it as always. Come back next week and guess what we'll be doing? You know exactly what we're going to be doing. Aside from the sheathing, we have that shear wall to contend with, like we did the one over here. And of course, we have to put that rafter in at the very end. And before we put this last piece of sheathing on, we have to insulate that bay at the very end. So that's it. In the meantime, you take care of yourself. Be good to one another. Stay out of trouble. I'll see you soon.